As a child, I was a normal child, and I have not so many ambitions to become a leader or a political leader or something like that. I never expected that in future I will become a minister, but I have some enthusiasm and I have some social feelings. I think that I got from my grandmother. My grandma was a matriarch who worked in her period to serve the people, and she was a believer of communist ideology, and she was brave, and she always loves to help others, and she was a local leader in our places. And I got so many ideas from her and also inspiration from her. My grandma always advised the nearby peoples or neighbors how to conduct a good life, or what they should have to correct in their life, etc. And the old people, nearby people, used to come to her to get her advice, even though they become any kind of diseases and any difficulties, they directly come to my grandma to get some advice. She was not a doctor, but she can advise some remedies for some diseases at that time. And if some young ones or little ones feel some pains in their stomach, the people took their children to my grandma and asked Kalyani Amma or grandma what is the remedy for that. And when she find the person, she can identify that the pain is due to some kind of stomach pain due to some worms or other some gastro problems, etc. And she suggested some local remedies for that, and they cured out of that. And she also went to other houses to help the poor, and she went to the houses where some infectious disease occur, and she nursed that people, and they helped to recover from the disease, etc. She was not feared about this kind of diseases, but she was very scientific. When an outbreak of this smallpox occurred in our places, everyone was afraid at that time. In my grandma's youth time, she told us that stories about how they are frightened about the outbreak of smallpox, and people thought that it is a curse of some goddess, and no people can save out of, no people can come out of the diseases, that the smallpox pox is like a disease at that time. But my grandma went there and she nursed the people, but when she returned home, she used to bath in hot water and use the soap, etc., and how to sanitize herself, and how to get rid of the infectious viruses, and she was aware of that. But she was not a scholar or any kind of that kind of the scholarship or nothing was there, but from the experience from the society and the belief in science and also the belief in left ideology, she did that. And we are watching that when we are child, we were hearing the stories of this kind of experience from the grandma, and I loved her very much, and I wanted to become like her in future, and that helped me to enter in politics and work for the poor people, etc. My grandma also participated in great struggles also. At that time in our places, the land was owned by the landowners, and the poor tenants have no right in the land, and they cannot wear good clothes, or they cannot walk in the common path, common way, and they cannot study, and all the things are according to the orders of the landowners, and they were treated as slaves. These peasants were treated as slaves. At that time, my grandma joined in at first in Congress movement, and also my grandma and grand uncles joined in peasant movement, and also left, then after left movement, and participated in land struggles to get land right struggles, and that also inspired me very much. After that, when we find a land honored by huge lands, properties honored by the landlords, At last, 1957, when a left government came to power in Kerala, they passed an ordinance, a bill, and then an act to eviction free or to stay the evictions of the poor peasants from the land, and they got the land at last. These incidents helped me to think about the poor people, to work for them, or to struggle hard to get a right, and that way I entered in politics when I was young. When I entered into politics, I had to face so many difficulties. So many things happened in our society, and I took part in so many struggles with the left front parties, and also the youth movement, and also the women movement. And at last, my party asked me to contest elections, and 4 times I become MLAs. One time I become minister. When I become minister, I have to face so many hardships. That I become minister from 2016 to 2021, and as you all know that period, so many hardships occurred in our society. That two devastating floods and hurricanes, and also the Nipah virus outbreak, and also the COVID-19 virus, etc. And I was the health minister at that time. I have to face all these difficult situations. But the lesson I learned from my grandma, and the lesson I learned from my party, from my ideology, that stand still, and you should have to face any difficult situation. The most important thing is to take a proper decision at proper time. That is the most important thing. When the Nipah outbreak happened in Calicut district in Kerala, at that time it was a new thing to us, and it was we all of us were frightened at that time, because it was a newly emerged zoonosis, and no remedy or no treatment procedure, or no medicine, and no prevention method, no vaccine, nothing was there. And the Nipah virus is a killer virus, and the mortality rate is too high. When a person caught Nipah virus, nothing but it is sure that he or she will die out of that, and mortality rate is too high. We cannot save more people from the virus, and that kind of a virus is Nipah. When we came to know that in one family 4 members caught a peculiar disease, and they have severe coughs, meningitis, and encephalitis, and so many symptoms. That symptoms goes to Nipah virus, but we cannot predict it was Nipah until once the test was done in a laboratory. And we want to test the virus, and what is the peculiar thing happening, we want to know at that time. And we send the samples to Pune Virology Lab to confirm what virus is that. We anticipated that it is a severe virus, and people are dying. One person died first, and the other 3 was struggling with their life, almost succumbing to death. And we tested the virus, and the result came, and it is for Nipah. It is positive for Nipah. And 1 minute we frozen, we can say so, and we were afraid at that time. But there is no moment to waste at that time. I was the minister at that time. I decided that we should have to act. Otherwise, people will caught the virus, and 100 odd people will die out of that virus. And I rushed to that place, that district, and we opened control room there, and we collected all the things together, and we called a meeting and arranged a meeting. All the stakeholders, we arranged a meeting there, and we started work. The rapid response team started acting, and the call center started acting, and we started preparing a protocol to treat that diseases. We have no protocol at that time. We had no protocol or proper standard operating procedures, but we started to prepare our own. I had at that time a very brilliant and effective, a brilliant health secretary, and he was thorough with this kind of activities, and he started his work to prepare a protocol. And I had so many good officers. My health director at that time, one lady doctor was the director at that time, and my health secretary, my director, my efficient officers, everyone come together and we sit together to prepare protocols and standard operating procedures. We didn't hesitate a moment, or we didn't stop waste a moment to get advice from other places. We started our work. That is the most important thing. At once we prepared protocols. We on that we read about the protocol of the Ebola virus, how they managed the Ebola virus, etc. And we set our protocols ourselves. That was the foundation of our victory, we can say so. And we started to isolate the patients in the medical college, and we started to trace the contact of the patients, and all the contacts we traced, and we quarantined, and we isolated them to break the chain of the infection, and we succeeded in that. And only 18 people caught the virus, 16 died out of that, and we can save 2 people out of the virus. Even we inquired whether any medicine is there in any part of the world, and we came to know that there is a human monoclonal antibody in Australia. And we at once we kept in contact with the Australian government through our central government, and we got that human monoclonal antibody from the Australian government, and we airlifted that medicine to Kerala in Calicut district. And but we didn't utilize that medicine because at that time we stopped the containment or stopped the transmission of the virus, and we contained the virus up to that time. And we stored that medicine in our laboratory, our nation's laboratory. And now we are utilizing that human monoclonal antibody in the COVID season. But at that time we acted first, and we acted well, and that is why we can control the peculiar virus in proper time. Within a short span of time, within a short space, we contain Nipah virus, and the whole world listened to us, and they discussed about that. I want to convey something to the young generations, that the most important thing is to act well, act properly, at proper time and in a proper way. That is the most important thing. The viruses, the funguses, everything is there in the society. And also there are so many the kinds of floods and other natural calamities, etc. because of the atmosphere issues and some kind of other issues. There are so many threats we are facing day to day, and with the evolution of the society, we should have to go with that, and we should have to find solution with every problems. The first thing we should have to know that solution is within the problem. I always remember that Karl Marx said that solution is within the problem, and we should have to find out the solution. Some problems we can solve easily, but some problems we should have to work hard to find out a solution. And I want to say to the younger generation that please find the solution yourself. Please try to find the solution yourself. Don't hesitate a moment in front of a problem to start work at that to solve that problem. That is the most important thing. And the second thing is, we cannot do anything alone. In the case of Nipah and COVID, we will not be safe if everyone will become safe. And that is the most important thing. We cannot become safe until everyone will become safe. That is the most important thing. Without borders, without any discriminations, we should have to work in a unified manner. If viruses are there, pandemics are there, but we should have to work, the whole world should have to work in a unified manner. In the case of some pandemics and health issues, the whole world to strengthen the public health system, that is the most important thing. And the youth should try to make their public health system strong, to ask their governments wherever they are. They should have to ask their governments to invest in public health system. And without the strong public health system, we cannot act anything. The pandemic will come, another will come, another virus will come. We cannot say that everything is stopped with this virus or with this fungus or like that. That will come, and we should have to prepare for that. The preparedness is the most important thing. Strengthening of the system, preparedness, and the collective work and the inclusive work, that is the most important thing. And the third one is to work for the whole society, that is the important thing. And we should have to work for the inclusive growth or the safety of the marginalized people. We should have to sacrifice our life for the marginalized people, or we should have to work hard for the people who were out of coverage or out of safety network. We should have to join together and to get a safety network for them. And every time we should have to think so. In my case, I never hesitate a moment, or there is no time to fear, or I want to become calm, or I had to become calm, because I have no moment to waste or to hesitate in front of a peculiar thing or in front of a this fearful thing. There is no moment to waste. And I worked hard with my colleagues, and with a teamwork we can find solution to the difficult problems. And the last thing, the youth should be curious and to attain knowledge, and they should attain knowledge continuously, and that knowledge we should have to utilize for the society, to the entire society, to the entire human being. And the attaining knowledge is the most important thing to act well. And please study well and attain the experience, or get experience from other places, or get knowledge from the whole world, the books, the literature, and from the living experiences. Please try to have something from anything and everything, and work hard for the future. Future is ours, and we should have to face any difficulties in the future. That will occur difficulties, and the question is that how dare you are to face the difficulties. Our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru once said that success often goes to those who dare and act. It seldom goes to the timid. I want to say that again. Success often goes to those who dare and act. It seldom goes to the timid. Thank you very much.